All right, here we go. Organized Noize, what's good?
Yo, what up, man?
Word with
What's
you.
going on with you?
Let me just start off and say that I am a super fan of what you guys do.
Appreciate it, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Besides the Outkast albums, I bought the Society Soul album. I bought the Sleepy's Theme album. Like, I was really like religiously following what you guys were doing musically, and all the side projects and everything else like that. So, a lot of respect for what you guys have done and what you guys are still about to do.
Thanks. We appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So, I think what's worth noting here is that before Organized Noize, there really was no Atlanta hip hop scene. You know, when we look at Atlanta and the run it's been having, like, people just assume there's always been hip hop in Atlanta, but when you guys started, there really was no Atlanta hip hop scene. A few artists here and there. Can you kind of describe what it was like before?
Let's see. I guess it was a little more of a kind of Miami, a 2 Live crew. It was a booty shake scene, they would say. It was a little more of a dance music or whatever, and that was just the popular music. That would be the music if you thought an artist was coming out from Atlanta, they would be doing something like some they would call it booty shake. Would it just be like some up tempo, heavy 808, you know what I mean, or whatever. But excuse me, that was just what was. The clubs, like, that was the music that would get the local people, the crunkies or whatever. So, but with us or whatever, like, you know, we loved hip hop or whatever. Like, and a lot of people did, but it just wasn't a lot of places that necessarily would play it or whatever. So we always looked at it like, you know, in order to go to authentic hip hop clubs, until you had to go to New York or whatever. So like, but soon after, because of the colleges here in Atlanta, so you had different people from different places, from Chicago, from Detroit. So that gave the hip hop, the Kaya and the Warehouse, they had little clubs that kind of gave you some real authentic underground hip hop kind of vibes or whatever. Like, so Atlanta was like I said, it's a mecca. It was a mecca, and it was especially for HBC, for the historic black colleges.
So at the time that you guys really started out, playing instruments on hip hop albums wasn't really the thing to do. Like, everyone was sampling. Like, it's almost like the dirtier the sound was, the more you could hear like the needle cracking on the record and stuff like that. That was considered authentic hip hop. Like, playing keyboards and so forth was considered kind of whack at the time.
Yeah.
So what really prompted you guys to develop that sound that didn't really use any samples?
You know what, man? It's so funny. We just did an interview. See, they said, "You all right with me, Vlad? You all right?" Because that's the truth. We was like, that was the chance we was taking. We knew that, and that's what they were asking. How do we want Organized Noize to be remembered as the producers who pushed the edge of music by including music with hip hop and 808s when that wasn't considered good? That was making your shit R&B or pop. It automatically would get you pushed out the fucking game. You wouldn't get no respect. It was taken away from it, as they thought. But the way we actually, because of going through all the samples all the time and digging in the crates, you started learning so much about music to where it was like, you know what, man? Really, they got live music in these samples. We just crunching it up. So really, let's not get rid of the samples. Let's break them up a little bit more, but develop the music that's around them with authentic instruments, not keyboard sounds. Keyboard sounds were whack. Using keyboards, the M1s and all the pretty shit that the R&B guys were using. You had to separate yourself. So we went and got the authentic B3 organ. When they got the real Wurlitzer, when they got the real Rhodes, used real instruments, then it started lining up good against those 808s and those hip hop drums. It didn't sound as pussy. It didn't sound as weak. It was like, okay, this sounds like an authentic old song. So that's when we started looking at it like, okay, that's what Dr. Dre out there doing quietly. He might just be remaking something, but really, we're now in the realm of doing something that can touch 3 million, that can go further or whatever. So it was just about, at that point, sticking to it and hoping that other people didn't catch on to it so quickly. It took 20 years, but people eventually caught on, and it became a standard of music. It became, during the late 90s and the 2000s, anybody production would consist of some live musicians with some 808s or with some samples, and that's what made music sonically better and kind of erased those lines to where certain producers like Timbaland, the Polos, the Pharrells, they can get in and make records that people would be astonished by, because it really was about they dotted the I's and crossed the T's. Everybody could, because they was already working with Devontae or other producers back in the Teddy Riley or whatever. Like, so it's like all you got to do now is evolve, help the sound evolve or whatever. And that's kind of where we are now. But that's where we are now. It's like we still want to include the music, but like want to add some of this young ghetto trap to it or whatever, to where that little energy, you know what I'm saying? But something that can I guess be entertaining, but at the same time still substance, still kind of like you be able to kind of like, clean up to or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Clean up too.
Yeah, you got to be able to have some shit you can throw on and just clean up.
Yeah, man. I mean, you guys definitely pulled it off. So you guys are working with different groups and artists, but then when you guys met Outkast, that's when things started to really go a different direction. Like, when you first met Outkast and they started rapping for you, did you see the vision right away, or did it take a while to really develop?
We saw the vision. We knew that they were what we wanted as far as being MCs, being East Coast MCs, like really being lyrical or whatever. But the identity of the music, and that's why it really is a Dungeon Family thing. It's like, because we defined it during the process. It was almost like when we did Players Ball, we were still, I'm saying, we did their first album, period. We were still heavy into sampling, but we understood that that's when we was introducing the live instruments or whatever, and making a point to go to churches and like going to places where we had certain instruments that we could use, like and taking advantage of that, because we learned that on Players Ball, because we used the B3 organ, we used the Wurlitzer, and we used certain stuff that people necessarily couldn't tell, but we also used a bass on it. It wasn't a live bass going through it. Like, cause you know what I'm saying? You got, like, Ain't No Thing had a Moog bass. It was an instrument, but it's like, it wasn't no live, but Southern Playalistic might have had a live bass. So these are the things that we were starting to learn as far as sonically what can make something, jump or whatever, like be in the clubs or resonate or whatever. I totally forgot whatever I was supposed to be answering though.
It's all good. Because I'll be honest with you. I'm at the age where I remember when the first Outkast album dropped. And I remember when the first single dropped, and me and my friends were listening to it, and it was like, we didn't see it yet. You know what I mean? Because honestly, the way they were rapping at that time, and I'm living in the Bay Area at the time,
yeah,
it kind of reminded us of
Souls of
Mischief. Right, you said it.
Yeah,
we were saying Souls of Mischief, and we were saying Far Side.
Yep.
It was like, these guys kind of sound like that. It sounded like a West Coast backpack style.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow,
absolutely.
That's crazy how you guys were getting the same thing. I thought this was just a private conversation.
We kind of knew it, but we weren't mad at it because we kind of liked those kids. But
absolutely.
We love Souls of Mischief. We love that song. Like, we love the Far Side, because we knew that they were West Coast, but they weren't gang banging, and that was the only thing that was holding back some of the other West Coast stuff, like, or whatever. So we felt like they were cool. You know what I'm saying? That was the reason why you couldn't touch it. It wasn't tangible, some of that West Coast, because you felt like you couldn't identify with them or whatever. These cats was like being different, being eclectic, being artists or whatever. Like, and they thought process was good or whatever. Now, the fact that Outkast, that was something that, with anybody, you want to be able to be yourself. So, like, yes, we tried to make sure that wasn't in those projects, but yes, you heard a little influence of the Souls of Mischief on Andre's little vibe.
And they were young.
They were 17,
you know
so it was almost like they was finding themselves or whatever. Like so it's like, and probably paying compliments to what they like or whatever, but not realizing that you are competing with these people right now. Like one of the songs when Big Boy might have said it reminded me of Snoop or whatever. Like, but they don't really like. But you guys are coming out at the same time. But really, these cats might be 18 or 19. You 17, really. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So that's what. But that's why when you saying it, yeah, it never really came up throughout their career. But we knew that. And we were proud of it, really. But because we knew that might be on a verse. It might be on one little here, one little there. But anybody with a real hip hop mind would be able to pick that up. The same way you would pick up on Noize getting it from Rakim. You're gonna pick up on certain things or whatever. Like, and that's cool. as long as that artist continues to grow from there, and that's not the only bag that they have, but that was really a compliment or whatever. Like, and that's what I felt like with Big and Drake, where they persevered. Their styles kept growing and flowing and getting stronger and even better.